Fellow entrepreneurs and risk takers.
Are you ready for a show where you'll hear real,
behind the scenes stories from real business owners?
Look no further. Uncensored Entrepreneurs.
The show where we bring you the real, raw, and unplugged version of entrepreneurship.
There's no sugarcoating, no filters, just the vulnerable truth about the ups and downs of running a business,
being a parent, and how to move through all of those phases of your life while building something of significance.
From early mornings to late nights, from triumphs to setbacks, we cover it all.
So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to hear the truth about what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Uncensored Entrepreneurs.
We're live.
I love it. And we have a new intro coming too, just so that you guys know.
Oh, nice.
We're trying to step up our game.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but it's Thursday, July 6th, and I feel like it is the most Mondayest Thursday I have ever been on.
The holiday.
Happy post 4th of July. And I would say, at least in our neighborhood, one of the things that we like to talk about is, fireworks start about a week before the 4th. And they end up around a week after the 4th. So they've been going off every single night.
We had that last night. I was talking to my, guy on the phone. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And he was like, what is that? And I was like, I think it's fireworks or a gunshot. So depending on.
Yeah, let's hope that's. Well, you know what? Actually, here in the South, they
do, right? They do both.
They light it up. Yeah, they light it up. And
I'm from California. Star's from California. Like when you live in California and you hear gunshots, like you don't just be like, ooh.
That's true.
Duck down quick.
Yeah. So pretty excited today. I mean, most of you are probably that are tuning in on multiple platforms. You're probably going, wait a minute, where's Christina at? And so Christina is she's finishing up basically a series that she's put together. I hear it's going well. So hopefully some of you are a part of that. In fact, she probably took some of our audience away as far as live interaction. But I really do hope that things are going well in that series. Looking forward to seeing some of the content and replays on that later on. But I
love that we can do that and that we can be so helpful to all four of us. I love our banter back and forth, and I love how we can support each other. I know all four of us are like extreme supporters of one another, so that is amazing. Robert, what did you do for the 4th?
Wow, I've been really busy. My sister and my nephews are down from Michigan. And so we've been just kind of as much time as we could around working with clients and in the busyness, spending as much time as we can with family, just enjoying those, backyard barbecues. My parents have a swimming pool, so we've been hanging out there a few days and, of course,
partake. Trying to get some color.
Oh yeah. I'm always working on. I'm always working on the tan. I kind of have a natural tan, so I guess I don't really fit the. You have
a natural tan? Where?
You're not seeing it in this light right now. So,
Sorry, Star, what did you do, Star, for 4th?
I didn't do much, just cooked at home. You guys know I'm dealing with this lower back situation.
You're still
yeah, so I can't really do much right now, but it's okay though. I'm working on it.
And then Precious, we have a guest host today. Precious, what did you do for the 4th?
I actually worked on my masterclass. I'm putting out a masterclass for RNs. That I've been a registered nurse for like 17 years. So I'm helping them get more aligned to be able to make more impact. So
while we're barbecuing, right, and jumping in swimming pools and all these things, you're actually doing something to improve the lives of thousands across the world. Wow.
I actually did, and I had to leave home and go to a Starbucks nearby because when I'm in Starbucks, I'm more creative. I'm more like there focused.
Really?
So, yeah, Starbucks.
You have to get out of the house in order to get that creative juices flowing.
Yes, and Starbucks is my go-to place.
Oh yeah. So anyways, for those tuning in again, thank you so much. We have a guest host with us, as you can see. She's going to tell you a little bit more about herself in just a moment. But we have Madame Precious Proscovia. She is a friend, a colleague. We mastermind together. Graciously, she has allowed me to sit on one of her boards of her charity, the Precious Kids Foundation. And so she's going to tell us a little bit more about that. But today's topic, it really just aligns perfect, right? And that's why we had you on today, Precious. You know, we're really talking a lot. We always try to pick a topic that really impacts the entrepreneur or someone that's looking to go into business and how they can really just kind of pivot to that next level, help them through some of the roadblocks. And combined, I mean, as a group, we have over 50 years of experience, right? And so we're really just kind of bringing that to those that are just looking for some little more information, and also just to be able to connect and to understand that they're not the only ones that actually have these roadblocks, that have these limiting beliefs, that have all the things and the challenges that we face as an entrepreneur. And I know that you particularly face a great deal of adversity, especially when it comes to just charity alone. And I mean, you know, you're bringing resources from the United States, you're going to another country, and you're really trying to create an impact to help save hundreds, if not thousands of lives. So very excited to hear a little bit more about that. Today, we're talking about serving towards success. It means a lot of different things. When we say success, if you've been watching us at all, it's not just about money, right? It's about, you know, uplifting others. It's about serving others. It's about impacting lives in so many different ways, including your own, and of course, the extension of the rest of this world. That's what we're here for. So I'm real excited today to be talking about this. There's a lot of experience that each of us bring. And so, Precious, tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the things, you know, the transition of, you know, your journey as an entrepreneur and what you're doing currently to help others.
Wow. I wear many hats, but first of all, I want to thank you, my Wakanda brother. I call Robert my Wakanda brother, and you've served with us on the board to help us serve humanity better, and I really honor you for that. Born and raised in Uganda, and I came here to follow the American dream. And I became a registered nurse in 2005. And since then, all I've been doing is just how can I become better? How can I become better to serve humanity? And of course, living here in the US, you get to see the different ways they do things here, different from Uganda. And I was like, oh, wait, I need to take this from here to Uganda. And that included my way of being a nurse. And the healthcare system here and the healthcare system in Uganda is different. And I noticed that since 2006, because I've taken care of orphans, I noticed many people are dying prematurely. So I was like, let's take it from here. Let's take doctors and nurses to Uganda and do massive medical camps, and we treat thousands. We just came back in April. We treated like 3,700. So what I do in a nutshell is to just expand on my expertise that I'm so blessed to have here in the US and be masterminding with world changers like you ladies here and my brother Robert, taking those expertise from here and then transporting them across the world. Because what I know is you may not have the same privileges, but you can be able to help another person lifting them up. Because having grown up with a single mom, that's how my life has been, people helping me. So it's engraved in me to be able to help as many people.
Wow.
Precious, what is one thing that you remember that your mom taught you growing up?
Oh, lovely. That's a good one. Just the ability to open up your heart to others. I usually tell people the stranger danger thing is not in me. Like, I don't have that. Now, that may be a good thing and a bad thing. But what she's taught me is to look at humanity as a human being and just give yourself of yourself to the service of humanity.
Oh, wow. Wow. I don't know if she's listening today, but if Leslie's actually on listening, you know, we're working on that. I mean, she's actually writing a course, her book, all these things are built around this humanity, this how to improve and exchange, you know, this value to humanity somewhere along the way. And it's been, of course, happening since the beginning of time. But really over these last 3 years, we've seen a big reveal, right? On how we've just forgot to be human somehow. It doesn't matter all of these other little moving pieces of how you're aligned. You know, we can agree to disagree, but we should be in alignment with one particular thing, and that's love for one another and how we can actually improve humanity. So I do appreciate that. And that's great advice from your mother, the queen, right?
Yes, the Queen Mother herself. And that's why I have a program called Aligned to Connect. You mentioned something about alignment, Aligned to Connect, where I literally help people get aligned in their own selves so that they can connect with humans, because we are so interconnected more than we know.
And Precious, I love your story so far. I mean, that's so incredible, the way that you're able to serve and help humanity. You mentioned RNs and nurses, and we work with a lot of entrepreneurs who are, still in the workforce. I know we all know a lot of RNs as well. You mentioned helping them get clear on like their alignment, and what exactly does that look like for an RN, and how do you support them?
You will find out that especially because I was an RN, so I speak to the RNs, and because I'm an entrepreneur, so I do a mixture of what they call impactpreneurship. You find out that when your life is, especially your health is not well, you're not able to become well, you're not able to go out and serve. And then you find a nurse, especially in the healthcare system that I know here, they go out and they give of themselves to helping you get back on your feet. Now, some of that, they do it actually at the sacrifice of their own selves. And I've seen that happening for the 17 years I've been a neuroscience nurse. I've seen that happening. So my passion turned around to being, okay, in addition to what I'm doing, how can I help you who is helping others? You are serving others. Who is serving you? How can I help you become more aligned so that you can serve others? And so what I do is I help them in the 4 major areas of life. Definitely your health and wealth, your connectivity. We talked about connectivity and divine spirituality. And then, of course, your ability to make sure your money is making money for you, because that's one of the things RNs do. They go make money, but it's like, can we make your money make money for you? And of course, their relationships. When I talk about connectivity, your relationships, your parents, your own relationships that bring life to you. Once you nurture that, you are able to help others even better.
I love that. And especially right now, too, I think so many people need one another. And as entrepreneurs, and myself included, because like last year, I had to step back hugely because of my health. And I think entrepreneurs, and us, and myself included, we think that we can do it all. And for those of us who have a little bit of controlling issues that you don't want to delegate things to. I go literally just I'm launching a course, I'm launching a masterclass, I'm helping people write books, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I have so much to do, but I don't know where to start.
Right.
And I just want to go back to sleep because thinking about it just makes me tired. But I think as entrepreneurs, we put ourselves out there so much, and we don't say no to some things that we probably should say no to. And we're just doing so much, and we don't take care of our health, and we end up not doing what we are, and we're not 100% out there. So, definitely that health is so important.
Yeah. That is so true. Burnout, right? Burnout is a real thing.
Yeah.
And when it comes to being an entrepreneur, and more when I say entrepreneur, those that are actually truly like leaders, mentors, coaches, those that are actually taking on sometimes the weight and the burden of others. I know that for myself, and when I speak to other coaches, this is a real thing where sometimes that burden becomes so heavy. And as each of you are saying, we focus so much on helping others resolve their troubles, their issues, their traumas, right? Their loss, their pain, whatever that may be, that we forget sometimes to step back and to actually help ourselves. And the best way we can do that is in this collaboration, right? Because we've mentioned before, I am my own worst coach. I am my own worst doctor. Because I'll just Google something and typically I'll find 20 different reasons on why I'm going to die in the next 30 minutes, right?
Well, I mean, Robert, I did try to die a couple of weeks ago. I'm on the show with like stuff, and I'm like dying over here. As soon as we get off, I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel very good.
Right. But like when you're part of a community, right? When you're serving others and when we talk about mastermind, it means a lot of things. It's not just mastermind. It's heart set and all the other things that kind of go in alignment. Precious, you and I have had many conversations aside from business. Most people think that as an entrepreneur, we only sit around and talk about business all day long. And I can tell you that we do a lot, but
But there's several times that I call Star up, or I'll call Christina.
I've talked to you as well. Yeah.
It's like personal stuff. Listen, I'm going through this and this.
You got to be able to just release, right? Yeah.
It's so important to do that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And so like serving, it just means so many things. And when you do serve, let me just kind of step back for a moment, and we're going to hear a lot more about some intricacies. But I know that one of the number one things with a new person that's transitioning maybe from the corporate world or someone that just wants to launch their business for the very first time, they're trying to figure things out and they're stuck, right? They're like, I really don't know what I want to do. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm aligned with. And I always say, if you're stuck, start serving others, and serving others will help you develop and find your passion and purpose so much quicker, right? When you're stuck and you've kind of got these blinders on, because when your heart and your mind, I always talk about that 17, 18-inch journey, right? Between heart and mind. When you take that journey, it brings you through so much, and you start to develop new skill sets. You realize what you're passionate about, how you want to help someone, what your, the impactfulness of what it is that you're actually doing and to whom you want to serve. And so I just love that. I always say serving is the best way to lead you to that next level in your life.
Robert, are you an
empath? No.
You're not? Oh, okay. I thought I was thinking that you might be. I end up, like, when I'm coaching people and they're going through things, I'll get off the phone and like I feel like I went, like, everything that they have told me, like I feel like I went through it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, I should say not naturally, because I've trained myself.
Yeah.
But naturally as a person, and we talked about that before.
Yeah.
That's why it's always hard for me to ask for money, because I just want to serve first, right? I want to deliver. I kind of, it's like setting that bar really high and over delivering. And that sometimes is because of empathy. So yeah, I mean, there is an attachment there, of course. I think all of us.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk to Precious about. This is a coaching business that I started here, just like Tina and Robert have as well. And I talk to some of my friends and I say, this is like the most overwhelming business that I've ever started. I feel very emotional at times. And, I'm just like, what is going on? I've opened different companies. And what I come to realize is that I'm working with people, right? Creating impact. And like you said, we're dealing with emotions. Whereas in my other business, it's a product-based business. Like, I'm delivering a specific product to you. There's no exchange of emotion at all.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with clients and they're struggling or they're not getting success or they talk about their personal issues, it does impact me. So Precious, what are some of the techniques that you can recommend for us to like stay within our power and stay uplifted while still carrying the burden and feeling, like Tina mentioned, some of the symptoms of our clients?
Yes, that alignment part I said is a multitude of so many things. And in order, of course, for you to be aligned, one thing I've realized that has helped me very well is to find mentorship. Somebody who's been there, done that. And when I tell them about this emotion I'm going through, I'm helping my client go through this, and it's like, oh yeah, I've been there. This is how you can navigate it. One of my mentors is Sharon Lecter. I call her Mama Sharon, and she has said something that has helped me. What have you done today to solve a problem and serve a need?
I think everyone knows that name, by the way, Precious.
Yeah?
Sharon Lecter? Yeah.
Sharon Lecter, yeah. She
just wrote a little book.
Just wrote a little book.
Mama,
will you say that again? Will you say that again?
Yes. One of the things she says, and this is something her father said, what have you done today to solve a problem and serve a need?
Solve a problem and serve a need.
Yes.
I like that.
Now, guess what? Her being a mentor, I am now also picking that from her, so that when you talk about the whirlwind of emotions coming in when you're going to help others, you find like, oh, okay, one thing I'm learning from her is what I can bring here. One thing I'm learning from other mentors, I'm bringing in here. It is very easy to just say, oh yeah, you just go through the emotions and things like that. I have had times, whether it's my for-profit side of me as a coach or my non-profit, I've had times when I'm crying with people Like when I go for my nonprofit side and I'm seeing a kid with a tumor and we're going in to help them, and I'm like, I want to give them a promise that we are going to help you. But even myself, my emotion, like literally there is one I was like, Lord, please help me be able to help this baby, because that tumor was disfiguring the face. So the emotions are there, but knowing in the back of my mind, oh, I'm going to go to some people that are helping me get myself better, align myself well, so I can serve humanity then better. So that's one of the things that I would say just in a short time here.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, just you saying that, and obviously I follow all of the missions and everything that's happening there. The camp that you just had not too long ago, and I mean, I'll tell you, like when people see, most people are only exposed to what they see on TV, right? It's a commercial that says, please donate or help in this way.
It's that dog commercial with
right.
That sings the song that
exactly, and they see somebody like that's in a impoverished, or someone that's has an ailment, whatever it may be. But Precious, like you're dealing with that daily. You hold
real live and in person.
You've helped so many children that unfortunately are not on this earth, today. Obviously in a lot of hearts, but it's that is it takes a very special person, and I just want to honor and thank you first and foremost for that big work that you're doing. We all face our giants, but wow, that is something, I don't know how I could handle that.
Now, do you know,
I love deep, and it would be, so.
And I think that's what can drive you. Star, when you ask me something, that's what can drive you, because you love so deep. You actually go in and say, I'm going to do something about it. One of my, I call it a mantra. One of the mantras I go about with is say, I'm going to do something about it. It's not somebody else. I'm not going to say somebody else is going to do, oh, who is going to do that? No, I'm going to do something about it. And that helps me channel my emotions from, oh my God, look at, the face or this and that, and the tumor has disfigured them. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to go back to my aunties and uncles, and I call them our PKF aunties and uncles. And we're going to talk to them about you. Because as a person, I'm an advocate. Whether as a nurse or as a human being, but to my core, I am as an advocate. And I'm like, I'm going to do something about it. I may not know what to do right now, but I'm going to go talk to our aunties, PKF aunties and uncles, and let's do something about it. If it means getting funds to come and help you go get the chemotherapy, we're going to do that. If it means talking to a pediatric oncologist and say, what can we do that's different here? Whatever resources need to be done, I'm going to do something about it. So that helps me channel the heart. When you say your heart, you're loving so much that your heart feels like, oh my God, what are we going to do? It's like, we are going to do something about it.
Yeah. You find strength, right? You find strength in that. So I just know, and again, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, for this hour that we're on when it comes to serving. But since we're talking about PFK right now, or PKF, Kids Foundation, sorry. I know that you have, one thing that you live by is when you're there, you always tell me that when you set up these camps, you serve everyone, no matter what the situation. So whether there's 100 people in line or whether there's 1,000 people in line, you're there with these resources, other doctors and nurses, medical supplies, monetary, instruments, whatever anyone's actually donated. And you're there serving each person until that has been satisfied. Is that correct?
100%. 100%.
So how many children, or I shouldn't even say children because it's broader than that. How many individuals, families, children, et cetera, have you served, over the course of a year, let's say?
Like we just came back in April, and in 3 days, in a medical camp of 3 days, we treated like 3,700 people.
Oh my goodness.
And all of it is free of charge. Our mandate is to make sure it's free of charge. Nobody should come to us and say, oh, I cannot get the help because I don't have the money. I remember one story very vividly, very clearly. This boy, he was on a motorcycle. We call them border borders because they're the fast transportation in Uganda. And as they were driving him, an insect flew, and part of the leg of an insect entered into his eye. and a little, like, like a little, I want to call it a bone. That's not the right thing. You know that when an insect has those little bones on
Yeah, a
the
little
leg?
appendage or something. Yeah.
So it got off of the insect and went into his eye, and it went to the third cornea, the third level of his cornea. So for an entire month, his eye, he couldn't blink so well because of that. And for an entire month, he didn't have money, which is an equivalent of like $4. He didn't have $4, and in order to take it on. So when we took the doctors, and part of the team we take of doctors and nurses was, we have a doctor for the eyes. We make a buffet of doctors so that people can just come in from one specialty to another. The doctor he came to was for the eye. And what he did, he just went with his, glasses of doctor glasses, and just used one of his special instruments and just took it off. Because it took only, if I count the time it took, like almost 30 seconds. And his life was changed. So when I look at that kind of impact and how it literally transforms a person's life, because a month ago he didn't have that money, but now he's like, oh my God, it feels better. Because if you and I can blink, and you can blink how many times in a minute, imagine if you have a foreign object in your eye and you can't stop from blinking, because your eye is like, get it out, get it out, get it out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's so many things I can tell you, but ultimately the ability to say money can never be a reason why somebody does not get the help they need.
Wow, that is so true. And by the way, I'm blinking a lot right now because every time you and I get together and talk, somehow you bring a tear out. And so I'm kind of like, it's my natural reaction to hold back those tears.
It's allergies.
But yeah, it's my allergies. I'm not crying. But anyway.
That's your love allergies. Remember, you said you love, that's your love allergies coming out.
Precious, what is one thing that you wish that everybody knew about your foundation?
That we are all humanly connected. When one person is in a need and you have the ability to do something about it, go ahead and do something about it. We're all humanly connected. And I know sometimes it may not be like you're in that place, because I usually hear this saying of born on the other side of the track or something like that. I'm like, do you know we are actually all humanly connected? Because at one point, this same person who may not have the financial ability because of their social status can become somebody else at one time, and that person will be another person who comes in to become a blessing in your life. It could be directly to you, or maybe somebody you love. Yes, so we are all humanly connected.
So true. And you see that in big impacts, such as, like, if I put out a request for prayer, right? There's all of these people that I'll probably never meet on this earth that they're supporting, right? Whatever that is that I'm going through. When you said, again, and I don't want to get hung up on the money side, but when you said like $4 to get this treatment, I hope that everyone is feeling the same way I do. We're so privileged, and yet we don't realize until you travel this world what $4 can do to someone's life, right? Most of us are drinking coffees that cost more than $4, and yet this person needs major surgery or needs something that will actually give them quality of life for $4.
Yeah, can you imagine? We can even do a hernia repair for $100.
Wow. Yeah.
And so when I put a price tag to it, it doesn't mean the impact is less, but it's more like to let you know how much of a change every person can actually make.
And the smallest amount. I mean, imagine if they're like, oh, I only have $5 to give. Well, you just helped that little boy get the thing out of his eye.
Right.
And because of the magnitude of impact, so that $5 can actually do more, because one of the blessings I've had is when we go into different communities, they welcome us with open arms. And so some people may say, I may not charge you for my expertise. As a doctor, I may not charge you for that. As a surgeon, I may not charge you for my surgical expertise. How about you just pay for the money for the anesthesia and the drugs and the hospital setting? And then, like, so many gifts can be exchanged, but it all starts off with one. So that's why the impact becomes even bigger.
Oh, wow. That is so true, right? It's getting that ball rolling, and then, allowing it to build up momentum off of just one little act. And so that was the other thing too. When we talk about serving, it isn't just always about money, right? That's just one vehicle, as we're saying. It's serving with with your own skill set, your hands. I know, like many here, when I have had clients in the past and even currently that are going through some major trauma or loss, sometimes, you know, my efforts start with serving. It has nothing to do with, you know, starting that ticker or saying that, you know, well, that's, you know, it's going to be X amount of dollars for the last 2 hours. It's serving. And so you can do it through obviously monetary exchange. You can do it through your own skill set. I know, Precious, again, kind of going back and using your example, you've had people donate land. You've had people that are builders that just said, you know what, I'm going to come with a hammer. Give me some lumber and I'll build a school or whatever it is that I have to do. And so I think that is really where humanity connects.
Do you know that it takes that when you talk about serving using other areas or other options that you have, it takes you out of your own self, and there's a fulfillment in that. You mentioned something earlier that you find like when you go out and serve, you feel a different way, and it does not have to be monetary.
Yeah.
Right here, what we're doing, you are actually serving PKF by making it known to other people who may say, oh, you know what? Yeah, how about we come and bring a team of doctors and nurses so that we do more medical camps, so we treat more people and we prevent more premature death. How about, I remember when they donated land to us, somebody was like, well, whenever you want people to come over to do construction, we're going to bring a team of constructors. And another one, oh, we can actually donate chair, what do you call it? Beds and
chairs and furniture.
Yeah, all those material things. Yeah. That is serving. Now, I know it takes money to make those things happen, but then we have so many other ways that people have served. We had this lady that came over to Uganda. She's not a doctor, not a nurse. She's a housewife. And she's like, I'm just a housewife. What am I going to do? I'm like, don't say just. What she did was she said, I just love to love on people. And do you know, even up to now, we have a recording. She had kids, 100 kids in a line, and she came up hugging each one of them, even if it's like for 30 seconds. And
they all wanted to be in that line to get a hug.
Exactly.
Sign me up for that one. You know, I told you that I'm going to be coming over there.
The hugger or the huggy?
No, I want to be the hugger. I'm going to be there. Yeah. Line them up, 1,000 people. I don't care. Yes. No hugs left behind. So I will be there until the last person gets a hug. Well, you said 3,700 people, so whatever.
But it is so true. Like anything that you do, there's several times that people have reached out to me, and just like from a post that I posted.
Yeah.
You know, Tina, thank you so much. I needed that today. And I was like, oh. You know, and here I am thinking I'm just posting. You know, sometimes you're not just posting. Sometimes whatever you're posting that is meant for somebody to hear or to listen to that day in particular.
Yeah.
So you know what? Serving can be big, and serving can be just, you know, something small that isn't visual, that isn't seen by the public. And so actually let's kind of do a little round robin. And by the way, anyone that's kind of tuning in, I know people are coming in and out, or if you're watching the replay later, please comment about some ways that like serving has impacted you, whether you were the one on the end of actually serving or you were the recipient of someone actually helping you. But like Star, you know, what's a time in your business when you can even think in any moment, or even doesn't even have to be your business, just the impact of your life?
Definitely. So I would say about quarterly, we make sure that my oldest son, and eventually it'll be my youngest son as well, we take him into the community to do some sort of community service. So we also acknowledge those who serve. So we sometimes will buy lunch for the firefighters in our local community, and we take him there, and he gets to see the really nice fire department, but he also gets to understand that we are appreciating them for their services. We have taken him to a women's shelter where we take him to the store to go buy certain supplies like deodorant, toothbrushes, things like that. And then we go there and we donate to those facilities as well. So we've been doing that about quarterly with him as well, so that he can start learning about serving. So that's been really amazing. I think we've been doing that for 3 years now.
Wow. I love that. And you know what, when you raise a child in that environment, regardless of what trials and, you know, tribulations they go through later in life as an adult, that will still ground them. There's going to be a time that they remember that they helped humanity. And so in their own moment, right, they're going to be more sensitive to that. I love that. That's great. How about yourself, Tina?
Ooh, I would say on the other end of it, that I was the receiver, because 5 years ago I lost everything and I had like nothing. And I was just reaching out to whoever and anybody who, hey, I'll do this if you can do this for me, and to rebuild my company. Like I needed my website done and they needed this done. And I'm like, okay, how about you do this and I'll do this? And they're like, oh, well, okay, I can do that. So, you never know until you ask, right? So I literally bartered my way to until I started making money where I could start hiring people. But it was those kind of people who gave me that opportunity and gave me that chance, that took that chance on me, that helped me build my company back up to 6 or 7 figures. So,
and see, doesn't that make you more sensitive to the people that actually are?
And that's what I do, and that's I feel like I'm such an empath because I have so many clients who are going through a lot of stuff. I have a lot of clients who are writing books, and they're writing books on their story. And every single one of my clients, I would say about halfway through their book, they're like, Tina, I can't do this no more. I don't think I'm going to do this. I want to quit. Every single one of them. And it's that one chapter. And it was that, like, we'd always go through and be like, okay, how are you growing up? And what was that pivotal point in your life? And then what are you doing now? And it's always that pivotal point where they're like, I can't do this anymore. It's too hard to write that one chapter where they had to go through that trauma again or relive that trauma again. And I help them get through it. And sometimes I have to give them a break where they take a step back for their writing. But every single one of them have to go through that trauma. And so as they're telling me all these things, and drug addiction and alcohol addiction and sexual abuse and physical abuse, I'm like listening to it and hearing their stories, but also knowing their triumph at the end.
Right.
All they had to go through, and then the amazing things that they are doing now.
Right. So like the real, to me, the catalyst of serving towards success is the fact, and we've talked about this in previous shows, that all of us as an entrepreneur, we have a story, right? We have something that's happened in our own lives. And that trauma, that loss, whether it's resolved or unresolved, whatever it may be, like that journey, helps us. If you tap into that and you actually conquer fear, you have the ability to share your story. There are people waiting. There are people just waiting to hear that you found a way through that journey, right? Because they're sitting there in the midst of it and going, I'm in the storm. Like, every sailor knows that there's sunshine on the other side of the storm. But when you're in the storm, we sometimes forget that is a.
Robert, that is so important to share your story. And I always try to tell people it's so important to share your story. Like so many people have come to me and says, who's going to read my story? I'm like, who isn't?
Yeah. Wow.
It's important. You do not know. And then, I've said this before. I was like, one thing that I always say to my clients is, if you just helped one person, would this all be worth it? If you saved one person's life, would this all be worth it? And they always go, yes. And sure enough, as soon as we launched that book, like thousands of people, hundreds of women, 100 of people are coming to them. Oh my God, thank you so much. I needed that. I needed to hear your story. I'm going through the same thing. And it is so important to share your story, because so many people need to know that they can get out of what they're going through at the moment.
Absolutely.
The story is the predominant driving force behind why you do what you do. Yeah.
That's right. And so, Precious, it's interesting, like not only have you had the ability, because like most of us, right, you become multifaceted as an entrepreneur. So not only has your journey as someone that, faced again adversity, both in the fact that, and again, knowing your story, that you worked so hard, right? You came here, you worked hard to even complete some of your, the medical degree, your requirements. Just that alone, that was one big, triumph. And then actually in the midst of that, most would say, I can't believe that you're leaving being a full-time nurse, right? But what you did was you took that skill set, your passion and your purpose and your calling, right?
Yes.
And you took that onto the next level of serving others by creating the Precious Kids Foundation, That's just one example, but you've done so many other things since that, because it's like these building blocks, right? We always talk about the building blocks or the waterfall, because you now went from doing that to, I mean, now you're involved in financial advocacy, right? You're helping people manage their money as well, so that they actually have more resources to be able to help, serve to serve others and to kind of push the needle, if you will. And so I just think that's amazing. What other things would you contribute to just serving your way towards the success of yourself and others?
Right. When in nursing, I actually say I left to come back and serve better. So I left my nursing, which was in this case, I didn't leave the nursing field. I left the working on the floor because of the way I was exchanging time. So I would work, and then I go to Uganda, and then I'm exhausted. I come back, I was stressed and pulling my wig off, and I'm like, I need help. So
You're like, I'm done.
I needed to learn how to work smarter instead of harder, so that I left the working on the floor, not the nursing field, working on the floor, so that I can learn better ways to serve better. Then I can come back to serve those who serve humanity. So in one way, I look at myself in my whole journey. Talk about the story when you mentioned the story, Tina. I look at it in a way that I bridge people who want to serve and those who need to be served together. I bridge them together. And I remember I was in a meeting it's called the Laughlin, it's called Magnify Your Wealth. And this guy comes to me and he said, "Thank you for giving us a platform to serve humanity." I was like, "Oh, okay." And it's all coming because of all my expertise that I call it cooking a gumbo. I put a gumbo of all my expertise together where I align myself better and be able to go back and serve humanity in a better way. And when this guy came and spoke to me about that, it clicked in me in a different way, because now when he said, "Thank you for giving us a platform to serve," he was coming to me, the other side of me, the duo. I call myself a duo expert. The other expert of me that is a financial advocate, a financial literacy educator, where in this case we are helping him right now. But at that time when he talked to me, he wanted us to see how can we help him leverage his taxes so that we use the tax IRS codes, like we have one called CLAT, the Charity Lead Annuity Trust, so that it can help him lower his taxes and be able to give more to nonprofits so that he can serve better. So he was tapping into that financial literacy educator of mine. And then he said, "Okay, how can I use that, lower my taxes, get ability to give back to humanity and be able to have a win-win?" I'm like, "Oh, I have both platforms. I can help you because I'm a tax strategist. I can help you because I am a nonprofit founder." So, hello.
It just is like perfect alignment. Wow.
Precious, what is one thing that if somebody is trying to just get out there and just start to serve and just, they just don't know where to start, where would you send them? How would you tell them to start?
I would just say start from where the ability to say, "I want to serve humanity." Because even if you say, "I want to start," where do I start from? Your heart has to be centered. The challenges are going to be there. Everything, all of it has to be centered on, "I want to serve humanity." Where do you start? Find where your heart is pulled. Try different things. Now, me, where my heart was pulled is children in Uganda, because I came from Uganda maybe, but most importantly, the children that are in rural communities that don't have access to anything. And because in my background, when I start from my background, I grew up in a single family home and poverty was everything around us. And my brother, who was 2 years old, died prematurely from a childhood disease. So what do I have handy? I am a medical personnel. I have that handy. I have the pain of losing my brother, my father, and my auntie and my grandmother all within the same time. I have that pain. So I'm like, okay, how can I go and serve humanity? So where does somebody begin from? Serve from where you are, with an intention of saying, "I want to serve humanity from where I am." Tina, you write books. You have the ability to have people come in and say, okay, like for example, you said your story, when somebody said, "Okay, how can I use my story to go out and serve?" Okay, we're going to write a book. That book is going to transform another person. How about you use that book now to physically go in the different places that your heart is pulling? Because that story that you have, where you start from is what will help you propel you forward, despite any other challenges may come in. Because let me tell you, when you say you want to serve, it's not gonna be a red carpet.
No,
You're gonna have to.
no, it's not.
No,
You're gonna have to roll your sleeves up and get nice and dirty sometimes.
you're gonna have to get like, for example, you're gonna take a plane, a 22-hour plane, and your body's gonna feel like, what are you doing to us? It's like, don't worry, honey, don't worry about it, honey, we're gonna go serve humanity. Okay, when you arrive there, the sun is gonna be scorching sun, and you're like, oh my God, I'm sweating so much. It's okay, honey, you're gonna serve humanity. That's what you want. When you reach there and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Yep, get into the dungeons and do this and like all those things that you're going to do, or see somebody in need and you're like, I'm gonna just come and give you a hug or take you to where resources are. It's okay, honey. You tell your body, it's okay, honey, we're gonna serve humanity. So that core of saying, why do you want to do it? You want to go and serve humanity. That will drive you through all the challenges until you come back. You're taking a plane to come back and like, oh, that was good. Can we do it again?
Uncensored entrepreneurs going live in Uganda.
Yeah,
look at you.
I would love that. That would
be good, because that's what we do. We take doctors and nurses and entrepreneurs. The Kids Foundation is called Precious Kids Foundation, and we stand on 3 pillars. We treat, we educate, we empower. Yes, we treat because I come from a background of medical. So when we enter any community, we enter in with the idea of let's treat the medical challenges they have. Then we educate orphans, we educate youth, and then we are able to help them be able to, instead of giving them a fish, we want to teach them and empower them how to fish for themselves. Same thing when we empower widows and single moms, because once you empower them, they can have economic self-sustainability. That will break the cycle of saying, I'm depending on you to come and help me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I love the education side. So it's not just serving and healing, it's educating.
Poor Robert, his Alex is killing him today.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So that our serving is like an all-around circle. You start from here, you can go here, and then you come right back, or you can go like this, either way. And that's why we say when we take teams, because I take different teams, and when we take the medical team or even the non-medical, we have a place for you to serve in either capacity that you come in.
Wow. Last week we talked about kind of this topic of 10X, right?
Yes.
But the interesting thing is we ended up in this big spin where we weren't just talking about 10Xing, money per se. I mean, that's kind of a goal with anything, compounding. But in order to achieve it, it's the collaboration, right? It's working with others, because we talked about if you work at a job like a 9 to 5, you have 40, 50 hours in your week. It's really hard to say, let me work another 150 hours to 3X my money. But if you can use your skill set to help develop others, to collaborate with others, to train others, to create other leaders, then you are in effect 10Xing just based on that compound. And so with what you're saying, that's exactly, it is that, right? That's the 10X effect when you can actually expand your talent and your reach by educating others. And I love that. And Star, you're a prime example. I mean, I know we've all done it, but I know that, in the beginning you were working like right there, right? Brick and mortar. And then all of a sudden you were inspired to say, you know what, let me see how I can take this talent and skill and help others do the same thing. So, I mean, that's, if you want to talk about just that alone, right? That was just, I mean, that in itself is serving, because how many other lifestyles have you created?
So many. And I also wanted to ask you, Precious, I know you guys just got back a few months ago from a 3-day event that you took a team out to do. How often do you take teams out to put on these types of services, whether it be healthcare or educational related?
We do that 3 to 5 times in a year.
Okay.
Of course, everything is dependent on the financial ability, because when we take a team, they pay for their coming over, but when we go to serve, it takes money to serve the community. So between 3 to 5 times in a year. And when sometimes when you say not everybody may go there, we have a saying in Uganda, techiwomera matama abiri. So that's Luganda education for you. Techiwomera matama abiri means it doesn't suit everybody. Some people may say, I am not taking a 22-hour flight to go over there, but I can send you. I can send you with a check.
Yeah. I like that.
I may not have the money to send to go for you to go do this, but I can come and give of my expertise. So we say, where are you that you can be able to serve humanity in different capacities? So between 3 to 5 different times we go there. And when we go, we, yes, definitely make sure, like right now we have a team actually coming, they're entrepreneurs, all of them are entrepreneurs. They wanted to come and teach the different communities, different aspects of entrepreneurship, so that it cuts the cord of poverty and it amplifies the ability to have economic self-sustainability. So they're not even medical, but they're coming over, and we're going to be having that different kind of like, I want to use the word masterminds, because they're coming in to bring in a mastermind group, and their ability to teach in there, but they're also expanding their ability to go into different communities to say, okay, so where are you? Let's sit down. You want to put a plan together. You want to say, you want to learn maybe computer work or different skills. I am an expert in this. How can I help you? That kind of connection that we have, because you never know what they're going to become when they grow up. Even the different communities, I look at my life as a prime example. When I grew up from a single family home, I never knew what I'm going to become. But people coming in and helping me and showing me this and giving me exposure in different areas of life, it has helped me to kind of build up who I am now, so that when I go back, I'm like, oh, okay, I may not know what you're going to become, but let's help you. Let's help you figure out some things, and that connectivity. So we take different teams at different times.
It's like having the different gifts that God has given us, and sometimes it's hospitality, and sometimes it's monetary, and sometimes it's just, being a hugger like Robert wants to be.
I'll be the professional hugger.
Yeah, hugger. That's important. The hugger
That's
part
the
is
most important thing. That's right.
You have to go to Cuddle. Isn't there a new website called cuddle.com where you get paid?
There is.
If you have watched that movie, Black Panther, Wakanda.
Yes.
So there was one of the major actresses, Lupita Nyong'o is one of them, but then Garira is another one. The lady, she undertook the wig off and threw it. That one. So she says she grew up in Zimbabwe, and she said that the owner of Essence magazine once went there, and she was young. I think it was like 10 years old. I could be wrong here, but she went there and she saw her and she held her face and she's like, "You are gorgeous. Never forget that." Then years later, she comes and she's standing on the she does the movie, of course, the Wakanda movie, and she comes on the stage of Essence to receive an award, and guess who is giving her the award? That lady. And then she reminded her that you are the one who gave me the confidence to believe in myself that I can do everything. And now look at where I am.
But so, just that simple act. She didn't give her this. She didn't give her that. It was just, you are beautiful.
Yeah. So Mr. Robert, the hugger, please.
See, you never know.
And with the allergies.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, in actually, just for a moment, it'll be kind of my closing. What we try to do in the last just few minutes is do a little closeout of some advice or something we can put in. And I just want to reflect back on something that we've all mentioned during this, but you really put it under the spotlight, Precious. And that is, some small act can become so big, right? Like maybe years down the road. So we don't even understand who we're impacting. And I think back to my own experience. I don't talk a lot about it on this show, but with my daughter, I had a 2.5-year-old that I lost, and to a disease that was uncurable. But the point of the matter is that when she was born terminal, through that, almost the majority of that process, she was working with with hospice, with a hospice nurse. And I think back to that moment of this hospice nurse, right? Wasn't getting paid a lot of money. Yeah. And she would come every week and work with my daughter and kind of try to massage her and get her mobile a little bit. Just some little quality of life, just a little quality of life. And she would spend that time, and then here sometimes we complain about, some of the simplicities of things like a flat tire, or and again, those things are still hardships, but they're small, they're insignificant when it comes to the big picture of things. And so I always talk about the fact that when I lost my daughter and I lost a big business that I had at that time, a brick and mortar business, and it was mostly because of my mindset and my anger and everything that I was going through at that time, right? And this is, many years ago. But in that moment where I really started to find my purpose is I reflected back on this nurse. I reflected back on the fact that she spent all of this time trying to help my daughter that inevitably was going to pass at some point in time.
She's doing all this stuff, and it's time after time. She's helping these people transition.
Always. And so here I am complaining about things, right?
Easily.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that really, transformed my life. And even more so, I talk about even a higher purpose, that compound effect you talk about. This nurse was doing all of this, but she didn't have a relationship with God. She was a pronounced atheist, but yet she was doing all these things. And through the act of helping my daughter, she said that she saw God in my daughter's face, and it changed her life. And so when you think about those little things become big things, and I don't even know what's happened. This is many, many years ago, right? This is well over 20 years ago. And so I sit here and I think, wow, how many other people have been impacted by a small event?
That's the human connectivity we talk about, because remember, to you, she might have come in because you needed her to serve and help your baby girl. And then the baby girl is of course in her life, what was happening to her. She may not have known that she's being of service to her, but the human connectivity is now you see the turnaround that came.
Yeah.
Change that life. Even why it's changing your life moving forward.
So truly a blessing, and I say pay it forward in all respect.
That whole pay it forward thing, you gotta, I always tell people, you never know who just needs a smile from you.
Yes.
Like just needs a smile. Just you walking by and just needs a smile, and it kind of changes the way they are. So Precious, we're at the end of our time. How can people get a hold of you, and how can people support you and donate to your foundation?
Yeah, when you go on our website, it's preciouskidsfoundation.org. And when you get there, you see a donate button. And the beautiful part of what I always say is the dual expertise I have is we actually have not just the regular tax deductions, but we can help individuals and entrepreneurs that say, you know what, I'm going to take a conscious decision of saying, can I give this certain amount of money? And then it can give you a tax write-off now for gifts you have not even given for years later. It's called the CLAT, Charity Lead Annuity Trust. So people can reach out to me. When you go to Precious Kids Foundation, there's that info@precioskidsfoundation.org so that they can reach out, or even donation on the website itself.
Awesome. How about you, Star? Any other last final words, or does anyone else have anything?
I just really like what Precious said, to think about how you can serve someone every single day, because I don't think that's something we think about. But personally, I have overcome being a person who, when I was younger, who would easily get stressed out over things. And now, I've moved into a space where it's like, when things happen, okay, that's small, right? Because other people there's people who are going through things much, much more significant. And so I try my best not to get very overwhelmed. And, some like Robert, you mentioned a flat tire. I watch people go crazy over the smallest things. And I'm like, it's so insignificant compared to what Precious mentioned about someone who has a brain tumor growing out of their head, or, and we've all been through some very traumatic things, like Robert, your experience and my personal experience in loss. And I'm not, putting those experiences down. I'm talking about the daily things that people go through, and they're make these big, and sometimes they are big, but you're going to overcome them. So focus on what you can do to give back to society and to humanity, as you guys talk about. I really, really love that. And for me, I'm always like, well, what do I want to contribute to? And I like what Precious also said. It's just pick something that you can easily start working on, and then that will start to expand.
That is so true. Wow. I love that. And I love that fact of what you've said. Just like you said, every single day you can serve in the smallest ways. And like you said, Tina, something as simple as just a smile. Or waving at somebody, or helping, opening the door, right? These small little things.
Or have a good day, or when you're at a cash register, I'm always, those cash registers at cashiers that are just like, I'm like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Are you busy? Yeah. Oh, so it's been busy today. How was your like? I'm always like trying to like get them to like smile. They're like,
Yeah.
I got pulled over. That's the story. But I got pulled over, and as I was sitting waiting for the police to come take my ID and everything, this guy goes to the gas station and he takes a water bottle of alkaline water and he gives it. I say, "I hope you have a good day." I cried. I was like, just that simple act. I still have the empty bottle right now. Yes.
Right. And we all talk about this. Yeah, Tina, you were talking about this the other day, that you never know what someone is going through, right?
Yes.
And so that small little thing can change the dynamic of
I still have that bottle. I kept it. That's the water bottle. Yeah.
I've actually known, and unfortunately, these last few years, suicide has increased, right? Depression in itself. But I've known people to tell stories where they were on the verge of suicide, like in that moment, and it was something as simple as a phone call, a text, or anything of someone actually saying, "Hey, I was just thinking about you," or "I love you," or a smile, or just anything. We talked about a hug earlier. Like
hope,
those things
that glimpse of hope,
Absolutely. It's very empowering. Well, thank you. Any last things? We're going to close out. And Precious, thank you so much for your time. For those that are watching, please follow, like, share. We're here. We're bringing it raw, unfiltered. And the thing is that, we're talking about some of these things. Everyone sees on social media the shiny objects, the fact that, I always call them the Lambopreneurs, right? All the ones that are driving the Lamborghinis around, and everyone's like, "Ooh, that's what I want to be." But there's so many other things that happen, right? To even get to that level, if that's what you aspire to do. But serving is, in my opinion, one of the most like the main pillar of all things.
I would say use whatever resources you have to serve humanity. Use whatever you got. One of my mentors, Jill Lublin, says, use everything you've got. So use whatever resources you have at your disposal to serve humanity.
I love that. Perfect close. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to have you on again. And we definitely want to connect with you in regards to seeing how, as a community, we can keep serving and helping in some ways. So
Beautiful.
Thank you.
For having
me. Next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Fellow entrepreneurs and risk takers.
Are you ready for a show where you'll hear real,
behind-the-scenes stories from real business owners?
Look no further. Uncensored Entrepreneurs.
The show where we bring you the real, raw, and unplugged version of entrepreneurship.
There's no sugarcoating, no filters, just the vulnerable truth about the ups and downs of running a business,
being a parent, and how to move through all of those phases of your life while building something of significance.
From early mornings to late nights, from triumphs to setbacks, we cover it all.
So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to hear the truth about what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur.
Welcome
to the
Uncensored Entrepreneurs.